This is the Cafe Racer Podcast, episode 144 for June 9th, 2019. I'm Crash.
And I'm pissed off. Nice.
Outrage!
Nice. Yeah, I'm really just.
I like that we talked about something that got you like super spooled up right before we rolled into the show. It's perfect because it's also motorcycle related.
Oh,
So
God.
which
Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's talk about the MV Agusta thing. It's probably the most recent well-known issue. MV Agusta just released a motorcycle ad not that long ago with a completely naked woman humping a motorcycle and moaning noises in the background, and then things like yellow, red. Like it really does say it in like this whispery, husky voice, which I think is
There's
comical.
a lot of humpage going on in this.
Yeah, she's like really, and there's nipple in the video.
Enjoying her motorcycle.
There's butt crack in the video. It's obviously a sex sells campaign, if that wasn't apparent.
And apparently there's some sort of uproar about it.
Yeah, there's people on one side of the fence that are very upset by this ad, and there are, I'm assuming, some people on the other side of the fence that are like, who fucking cares? Or whatever.
That's me, man. I don't care. It's too, we're just, you and I kind of talked a little bit about this.
Mhm.
I'm so sick of the PC environment, and it's really kind of, let's pick and choose what we're offended about. There's no consistency in it. And this ad to me, look, MV Agusta is an Italian company. Sex in Italy is a very big thing when it comes to advertising. And people in Italy just don't get as uptight as we do about nudity. Nude beaches are not like hidden there. It's like a thing. You go to the beach, there's people walking around topless, there's people with no body. People don't care. It's just not a big thing.
I remember seeing like nude-ish or very close to nude like billboard ads while I was there. And it just wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, for instance, the controversy we have in this country about women breastfeeding in public. Like, I don't care. I'm not offended by that. I don't care if your kid needs to eat, feed your kid,
Yeah, and that's almost like, it's a weird thing, the argument between like the people that would argue that this ad is extremely objectifying or whatever. And I'm not even saying that I don't think it is. I'm not 100% sure where I stand on this ad. Watching it, I was like, this is kind of weird, and I liked some of the things about the ad because I thought they were funny, just because of how over the top they are. And then also the controversy about it, like I said just before the show, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Like, this is going to make more people see the ad and more people learn about MV Agusta's new Superleggera. But anyway, the people that would argue that you should be able to breastfeed in public are probably a lot of the same people that argue against this
absolutely
ad.
Absolutely. And that's what kind of pisses me off. And it's because, listen, you know what? If you're offended, don't watch it. You're not buying them. There's probably people right now on the internet screaming about this ad that have never seen it or aren't in the motorcycle culture or would never even have watched the ad, but yet they're bent out of shape and they're objectifying women. And, oh, okay. Like, we don't objectify good looking men in this country at all. No, it never happens. They don't use a really hot looking guy for an ad targeted at something, cologne, clothes, cars, come on.
Yeah, I did like, so Tobacco Motorwear posted posted a picture of, I don't remember who, it's basically a big fat guy in his underwear riding a chopper in like the desert or something. And it's a really funny picture. And it's the naked girl from MV Agusta and this guy side by side. And it's like, who wore it better? Which just made me laugh a lot.
Right.
Big fat.
Well, let's put it this way. So Lincoln automobile manufacturing has an ad campaign that features Matthew McConaughey, right?
Mhm.
And Matthew McConaughey, he's considered a sex symbol by women. He's good looking. He's very popular. He's
Not just
sexy.
women. Meow. All right, all right, all right.
Yeah, I just think about him playing that bongos naked, smoking a joint. Just doesn't do it for me. Anyway, would they
To each
run that?
his or her own.
Would they run that same ad campaign with the guy that played Newman in Steinfeld, Wayne Knight?
Oh god, that would be so good.
But it
But
would be
no.
funny for yeah,
No, they
I'd
wouldn't,
love
but
it, but they're not going to sell a single car because
especially if he said all the exact same lines. Like,
I'm a U.S. postal employee.
well, like, no, when he's because Matthew McConaughey's in that car and he's like got his hand up and he's like,
Oh, right.
exhilaration.
Right.
Imagine like Newman sitting there saying the exact same lines, trying to deliver it in exactly the same way. That would be so good.
Dude, I got to tell you, one year I was at a trade show and we were in Miami and I was at some bar that, where you had to stand in line to get in. Basically, I didn't even want to be there. And this girl walks up to me. She had to have been at least 20 years younger than me. And she's like, got the gaga eyes. And she's like, hi. And I'm like, all right, what's this all about? She goes, you look like a celebrity. I'm like, who? And she goes, Newman. I'm like,
You're like,
yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.
That's
See you later.
very nice.
Anyway, again, the ad, I don't really find the ad offensive. Then again, I'm not a woman, but I also don't find ads that have topless men in them offensive either. I could care less. It doesn't matter to me. And, you
Yeah.
kind of made a point like, are they actually going to sell more motorcycles with this? Well, like you said, there's no such thing as bad publicity, but also the point I was making is, okay, maybe somebody that was going to buy a bike anyway and then never even heard of MV Agusta hears this controversy, sees the ad and goes, F the girl, that's a great looking bike. I want to go find my local MV Agusta dealer.
It does look like a cool bike.
Yeah, it does. And, listen, I can tell you right now, I hate bringing this up, but I've overheard some of our sisters in the motorcycle community having a conversation about the different shape of motorcycle seats and tank junctions. So I'm not going to go any farther than that. So this girl like humping this bike, maybe she really liked the motorcycle. She was in love with it. I don't know. But
I don't know.
it doesn't upset me to the point where people are outraged about it. And you know what really kills me is there's probably people out there right now starting some campaign to, put a hashtag boycott MV Agusta up on Twitter because of this.
Yeah. There was a campaign recently about I guess part of the problem I think that we have with this sort of thing is like then say MV Agusta apologizes or whatever. That'll like never be enough for a lot of people. There's like no way back after you've kind of been like, ostracized or whatever. There was a local San Diego newscaster that she said something about I don't remember I don't remember the comment, but she made some comment that sounded like she would like angrily hit a motorcyclist because that motorcyclist was doing something stupid or whatever.
Right.
And it was just something that kind of like she just kind of like it came out on air, and then there was a lot of outrage, and she apologized. It was like, "Hey, look, I apologized later on the show, like on the news program, and I'm apologizing now, like publicly. I would never actually do that. I'm sorry that I said something like that. I wasn't thinking whatever." And then like there's other people trying to campaign to get this girl fired.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And I'm like,
yeah.
Come on, like can we like has none of us like screwed up before and like needed
she's a human
second
being
chance or whatever? Like I've said all kinds of dumb stuff.
So have I. And if I was terminated for every time I wanted to lash out about something, I would have been fired 50 million times starting when I was 16.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like
thank God I'm in the Navy and it's hard to fire me.
Well, the same thing with the fire service. But the truth is, yeah, people are upset because she's got a platform, she's on TV. Hey, she apologized for it. It'd be a different thing if she went, I stand by what I said. Motorcycles are idiots. I'm going to run them over every chance I get. Nah, she's like, she got upset. I get that from people all the time when you talk about lane splitting. Do I think they're actually going to try to run me over? Of course not.
I really hope not.
Listen, when it comes to road rage, I talk about doing I wish I had a rocket launcher on the front of my truck.
Yeah.
I would take people out left and right. Do I really mean that I would do that? No, but But so I don't know.
But
People
you dream
overreact.
about it sometimes.
Yeah, I wake up all happy because I like cleared off half of I-95.
Yeah. When I was
Listen,
a kid, I used to imagine this like having like a like blade sticking out of the side of the car, just like chopping off everything as we drove by. I I wasn't even thinking like in an angry way. I just would imagine like, man, imagine if the
be
car
so
just
cool.
like sliced off like all the telephone poles and street signs and trees, just like everything within like a, 10-foot reach
It's
of the side of the car.
it's a valid fantasy. It
I was like,
really
that'd be
is.
so weird looking. I don't know.
Anyway, so well, I'm still on the topic of in being infuriated.
Yeah, I was gonna say in other rage-filled news.
There's a guy that's on. He's a small manufacturer, a single man company on Instagram that goes. His company name is called Scotch and Iron, and he makes clothing, and he actually has some kind of cool designs and some accessories and things like that. But it's really kind of geared toward the moto culture in general, not
Mhm.
just motorcycles, but cars, trucks, that type of thing. Well, he posted recently on Instagram that he's being sued. And he's being sued for copyright infringement by a company called Scotch and Soda, which is a manufacturer of clothing as well, but it's a large European brand that does business in the United States. And it's not even in the same market. They're more in the like sailing, boating, kind of like Sperry topsider, stuff like that market.
Yeah.
And they're claiming that they sent him a cease and desist letter. And I'm quoting what he was saying on his videos on Instagram. They sent him a cease and desist letter, and then they wanted all of his inventory for whatever reason, and then an accounting of how much money he's made.
Yeah.
So he told them, "No, I'm going to fight it," and it's costing him a fortune.
Yeah.
Um, he just recently put out a video where he's asking for some help, and I bought 2 shirts from his site that are, like, geared toward helping to pay the legal fees, 'cause
Mhm.
just to file a letter that he's gotta file is, like, $20,000 to get to a
Yeah.
certain point. But what pisses me off about this is this is a large company that is exerting because they know how the game is played, and I'll tell you a story because I have personal experience with this. Years ago, I worked in the dive industry on my days off from the fire department. There's a small and I'm not gonna use any names. There's a small manufacturer in Fort Lauderdale that manufactures dive gear for a niche market, and we also manufactured gear for public safety diving for fire and police that was really very specialized, and I ran that division. Well, we were at a trade show called DEMA, which is for the diving industry. And over the course of a year, we were being courted by a really large manufacturer of scuba gear, recreational scuba gear, to the point where they were making offers like to buy the company and
Mhm.
incorporated. And they actually owned their parent company that owned them owned a lot of outdoor type companies like watercraft, all kinds of things. And they wanted to use the products that we made in all these different divisions. And they wined and dined us. They came to the factory, in Fort Lauderdale. And one of the things that this company does that I worked for, besides manufacturing scuba gear, is that they design things for the dive industry. So the owner of the company has somewhere around 150 patents in the dive industry.
Mhm.
There's specific features on equipment that if you buy it from a company that's his patent, like, and they pay a
Yeah.
royalty and licensing fee for that to use
Mhm.
those designs. So this company comes, they visit us, they brought engineers in, they were, really excited. And then all of a sudden we didn't hear from them anymore for like 3 or 4 months. Next thing you know, they go release their new fall line, put a catalog out, and they're copied our designs
Mhm.
in their new products. Their engineers must have went back, reverse engineered a lot of the stuff, and they've just decided to put it. So, all this stuff's patented. When the owner of the company contacted him about it, they're like, "You know what? We don't care. We're a big company. You'll never be able to afford to sue us. Sue us. Go
Yeah.
ahead." Well, the the guy they were talking to is kind of a pit bull, this friend of mine that I grew up with, and
Yeah.
he sued him and we won. But it costs a lot of money, but we ended up getting the money back at the end as
Yeah.
part of the fees. But this is what kind of pisses me off are these large companies that try to exert pressure on these small businesses like this guy, basically running him out of business financially because what? Like, how is Scotch and Iron gonna affect Scotch and soda's business. And the really funny part about this is
Yeah.
Scotch and soda is a commonly used term.
Yeah, it's a drink name.
Yeah,
Like,
they picked something that was in public domain and decided to trademark it for their
yeah,
company. And now they're saying that people are going to be confused about the brand and buy his stuff over theirs. There's no way that a
yeah,
guy that was going out looking for a sailing shirt is going to go buy some motorcycle shirt. Like
yeah,
it's ludicrous. So I want to like give a shout out to the guy. He's on Instagram. If you search for Scotch and Iron, you'll find it. Look, if you can afford to do whatever he's got for the campaign, the shirts are really cool. They're $20. Buy a shirt. We're gonna try to get him on the show. I've sent him a couple messages. I just haven't heard back from him yet to at least
yeah,
talk about what he does, what he makes, and what's going on over there. But that kind of stuff really pisses me off. It's the part of the trademark laws and patent laws that the people really exploit because they're
yeah.
allowed to. So
So
rant off.
yeah, in in happier news, I've got my beautiful blue Moscow Moto T-shirt on today.
I know I like that a lot. I'm very
And
jealous.
yeah, along with it came a Reckless 80 system that I'm going to attempt to use on the Bonneville next weekend.
Dude, you're gonna love
Um,
that.
yeah, I got to see it on bikes at Overland Expo, and talked to Pete and Ashley, and they gave me quite a hell of a deal. I had originally asked, like, hey, do you guys have one I could just like borrow, use, kind of show off at this camping trip I'm going on with some motorcyclists next weekend, and then just send it back. And they were like, maybe, but we don't know if we can get it to you in time. So they gave me a great deal on one. So I bought it. Now I just have to get it all mounted up to the Bonneville and also extract the Bonneville from the backyard of my house.
Yeah, you
Um,
said it's like trapped back there.
a little bit, yeah.
Do we have an alley in the back of the house?
So no, there's a like my backyard is pretty big, especially for San Diego, but it's on a hill, so there's a retaining wall partway down my backyard,
Mhm.
and there's stairs going down one side and a just the wall itself on the other side, and I set my little short motorcycle ramp on the side that doesn't have stairs, and rode the bike down into the backyard, so that it would not be sitting in front of the house. And so I have like a little tent style, like tarp style portable garage back in the backyard.
Right, right.
So I have the Bonneville back there. I have like my bicycles back there, stuff like that.
Is it
Well,
secure?
yeah, I mean it's locked up in my backyard.
Right.
There's nobody behind me either. Um, like I'm on a canyon kind of thing, like a small
Mhm.
little canyon. Well, it occurred to me like, okay, cool, I got the bike back here because gravity was able to help me a lot get it down the ramp. But now I have to get it out, and um, going up the ramp is not terribly difficult, but just above the ramp is just mulch. There's no like I'm not going to have any traction,
Uh, yeah.
so I'm going to need probably one of my roommates or maybe more than one of my roommates to
Push it up the ramp.
basically help me push it up the ramp and
Yeah.
then keep it stable and then push it up the rest of the kind of side of the hill to get it up onto my patio so I
Are
can
you
actually get it out of the garage.
are you allowed to put, sheds up, like portable sheds?
Yeah.
And do you have TED sheds there or not?
Um,
Maybe a
we have
Florida
tough
company.
sheds.
Tough
Um,
sheds.
yeah, like the
Yeah, 'cause
plastic things.
they make some that are decent sized garages, where you could put
Yeah.
a couple of motorcycles in.
The thing I have is pretty good. It's similar. I don't know if you I mean, for those of you that follow on Slack, Jed's Justin put like a tarp style portable garage up in his backyard during the winter to like winter store his truck, I think, and some motorcycles. It's the same kind of thing. It's basically like an
Yeah.
A-frame kind of, you know, tubular steel thing with a couple of tarps that strap onto it, and it does everything I need it to do.
Some of them you can put sidewalls up too, right?
Yeah.
Like canvas sidewalls that they have that kind of have like the bungees that stretch over the poles.
Yeah, mine has walls that go all the way to the floor.
It does. Okay.
Yeah. So it's perfectly safe and secure for everything I need it to be in the backyard. It's just difficult to get in and out. Um, but we have an upcoming partnership with a company that sells ramps, and they're going to be sending me a ramp. Once they do, I'll be able to talk about it and all that sort of stuff. That's a much wider and much longer than the ramp I currently have.
Mhm.
Like the ramp
Do
I
you have
have right now
do you
is
have enough approach where you can, like, get some speed up and drive up it?
yeah, yeah.
So if
I've
you
I have tons of room if I just had a longer ramp
I mean,
that
could
would
you
make
run
the
a
anger angle less
can you
steep.
run, like, a set of, flat stones, like a walkway type
Oh, like
block
pavers?
out? Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I was thinking about doing that in the mulch that would currently be causing me so many problems.
Yeah, like
Um,
12 by 12 or something like that, you know?
yeah, basically just make a little pathway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the longer term plan. I haven't done that yet, but
By
yeah,
the
so
way, I
the
never told you, man, congratulations on buying the house.
thanks. We had the housewarming party yesterday. And it was fun. A bunch of people came over, like a bunch of all of my friends and roommates' friends and stuff like that all came over and um yeah, my friend Spencer was like, "Dude, you just need to like do a little bit of new landscaping and just make a concrete path that like basically a concrete ramp that runs along my fence and
Right.
down into the backyard." And like that's not a terrible idea and maybe one day if I stay here long enough, but I don't know if I'll be here long enough to really care about that.
I'll
Um
actually be not homeless, by the end of the month.
that's awesome.
I signed a lease on a house to rent,
Cool.
so I may if they s it's a nice house in a nice neighborhood, and the lady was talking about selling it, so there's a possibility I may buy it, but,
Cool.
yeah, not living out of my truck anymore.
Yeah, kind of bouncing around, couch
Right.
surfing a little bit.
Yeah, sucks,
Yeah.
but
So yeah, after this podcast, immediately after we record, I'm going to finish packing and ride to Arizona on the KTM to visit my kids and my parents for a few days.
how long is that ride? 4 hours?
5?
5?
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like 103 degrees in Arizona today, so or in Mesa, so that's going to suck.
No, it's been pretty brutal in Florida
Yeah.
too, in
Uh
the high 90s.
the and then immediately after I get back, I'm going on a camping trip called the Brappening. It's put on by a group called Flat Black Collective here in San Diego.
Mhm.
And so yeah, like it's like 20 of us I think that are all going out um to the like mountains near San Diego to go camping for the weekend.
Listen,
And
you're gonna
so
dig the Reckless. It's when I saw them actually being used, like, when I first saw them on the website, it was hard to kinda picture it, but
mhm,
we had them on both the Kawasaki's, um, and they're really an ingenious system of holding gear, and these guys had everything. So they had their tent, all their cooking gear,
yeah,
clothes, for 2 weeks in these. Um, it's really a great system, and it's easy to put on the bike, and it's on the Bonnie, you shouldn't have any problem strapping it down.
right. Yeah, I mean I already have like saddlebag racks and everything. This is gonna make the I think the fourth set of saddlebags that I will have for the Bonneville. Because apparently I have a problem. But I was really
Well,
excited to see the Reckless one in person and get to use it, and it's actually waterproof, unlike some of the other bags I
yeah,
have.
I think the ones you did with the ammo cans were kind of the worst looking, honestly.
Oh, yeah, they were hideous,
Yeah.
but they were functional for what I needed at the time.
And what that project if you had to put a dollar figure on the ammo can project, what did that cost total?
Um,
Including the racks that were already there.
well, I've got racks well, no, I used the racks that I already had, but including those racks, I think I paid under $300 for everything.
Yeah, so that's for somebody who doesn't wanna go spend a ton of money,
Yeah, and
that's
if and I got the ammo cans for free, which helps, but those ammo cans you can find, I think, for around 40 or $50 at most, and if you reach out to somebody in the military, you can maybe get a hold of one for free. If you're listening to the show, you have contact with somebody in the military, you've got me, you can reach out and I might be able to get you a set and just charge you shipping for them or something like that.
you just opened Pandora's box, buddy, by
Yeah,
doing
whatever. I um, like I said might, I'm not making any promises. Depends on,
Or
what's
you just
needed.
ship it to France, yeah, like
Um, but, yeah, so I got the cans for free, and I think the rack I got made by a guy here in San Diego
oh,
for
that's right, that guy built
yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah, like $180, I think,
Yeah.
or 140
Well,
bucks.
it's a cost-effective way to go, but, if you don't want a permanent mount and you're on a bike like, a Ducati Scrambler or the Bonnie or anything like that, even like a dual sport, it's the perfect system.
Yeah, the Reckless is great for bikes that don't have, like, a system already incorporated onto them for
Right.
storing, like, for bags and stuff.
Even if it does, even if they make something aftermarket for it, and you just don't like the aesthetic of having
Yeah.
bags on full time, and you just want to do it for camping, it's a really cool system. Moscow Moto, everything that they make, like I'm getting ready to buy another tank bag from them.
Hmm.
Um, the first one that they had, it didn't work for me just because of the way I use camera gear, but I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
And now they've come out with more traditional type tank bags, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
be emailing Ashley and buying something different.
Yeah. I
Uh,
really like the look of the new one.
yeah.
Not they have the
Well,
Pico, which is the
there's
tiny one.
there's 2 new ones, yeah.
Yeah, and then the other one that's name I can't remember, but I really like that one doesn't it gets waterproof, but it doesn't use a zipper. It doesn't use like it's just waterproof by virtue of the fact that the overlap is enormous between the two
Like a
layers.
shell, an enclosing shell.
Yeah.
We sound, I mean, especially me, I know I sound like a Moscow Moto fanboy, but we're not sponsored by them. We don't get paid to do this. It's just I've used their gear in real world situations for a long time, and it's held up really, really well, even in a
Yeah.
crash. And I know that
Um
if I would have had metal boxes on the bike or the KTM plastic boxes, they would have been destroyed.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um So, speaking of storage, motorcycle or whatever related storage, and also a contest, we when I went to Overland Expo, Pelican cases, the makers of hard plastic, nearly indestructible cases for all kinds of things, was putting on a presentation. They just released a new line. They have a new line of coolers that are like competing with Yeti coolers, and then they also have a new line of small to medium storage boxes, and they gave out to all the media participants, they gave out one, and I ended up there at the end of it, and they had extras, so I was able to snag two of them. And this is the case. It's called the Pelican R40 Ruck case. um, so if you're only hearing my voice and not seeing it on video, you can look it up. We'll have links on the website. It is watertight, crush proof, and dust proof. It's a personal utility case, they say. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what I would put in here. And the part of this contest is we would like you to tell us what you would put in a ruck case on your motorcycle. It can be a real rational answer, or it can be an absolutely absurd answer. And we're going to pick two winners, probably the best real answer and the best ridiculous answer, in order to win a case. It's got a little like divider in there with some sort of Velcro straps for you to organize stuff. It looks like maybe a decent place for organizing your cell phone and chargers and that kind of thing. If you needed to like keep them in a solid, safe, secure area. But
Were there many new products in that Rock line, or was that the only one? Like, is it
there's
a bunch of new stuff?
3 or 4 sizes. Ow,
Okay.
I just pinched myself on the latch. So anyway, yeah, we have one that is in like a army olive green, and then we have another one that's in a desert tan. And so we'll be giving those away to the people that can tell us the best use cases for the case itself. And they will be
Nice.
getting that and a vacuum bottle thermos style thing that Pelican just released, to compete with Hydro Flask and those kind of companies. So yeah, we'll be sending those things out to the winners, and I say we have like a month, at least a month. So probably beginning of August, or not beginning of August, beginning of July. I mean, we'll end the contest and pick the winners.
We still got to give away. We've got a shark helmet and a Dionysia jacket and gloves we got to give away, but I need to photo that stuff.
That's on you, man.
I know it's on me. And I got something done. I sent our buddy Wes that Aerostitch gear. So
Okay.
I haven't heard back from him yet. I don't know if you got it or not, but
Yeah, West recently got his motorcycle.
that's right. He got the FTR, didn't he?
Yeah. Did you see that he got a flat on it like the first day?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So Wes, he was on our most recent episode. His name's Wes. Does the BMW MOA podcast, Chasing the Horizon, and he just bought. He had pre-ordered an Indian FTR 1200, and it just arrived, and he was super excited about it. Took it out on in the first 40 miles, got a flat tire. And so then he got to use his new flat repair kit that he had. It's sort of like a fold-out pocket knife style kit that has
Right.
like the reamer on one end and the plug holder on the other. They flip out and stuff. So he put up a little video of using that. So
So
it's
that's
just
one of
kind
the
of
bikes
funny.
I've been really excited about, honestly, that, it's come out in the last, like, year,
Hmm.
I'd say, and it looks like Steve Case got to do a demo ride on one.
Yeah,
So Steve's a builder buddy of ours, also a supporter of the show and a member on our, like, Slack crew. It looks like he rode that and the Indian Scout. So I think we need to have him come on and talk about these.
yeah,
I'd really like to, and Wes too, I'd like to hear what these guys are saying about the FTR. The FTR is still a badass looking bike.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the exhaust. It needs to, but that's the kind of bike that I would customize the crap out of. I haven't really done much to the KTM, and I don't plan to. But the FTR is a bike that I definitely see as like a canvas for modifications.
It's it's just such a the platform of it is really nice. I like the way the bike looks. I like the seating position on it. I definitely like the motor on it. You
Hmm.
know, there when it comes to exhaust though, there's so many motorcycles that are cool that I hate the exhaust on. So that's
Yeah,
nothing that has really bothered me. I
yeah. It's
something
never
else.
like a huge detractor because there's always a
No.
million aftermarket options.
Yeah, and it's really a very besides the fact that if you're actually trying to tune the bike for performance and you're getting something specific to that, but as from an aesthetic standpoint, it's a very personal thing,
Yeah,
what they look like. But I know I want to get like wings exhaust for the KTM, but then again, I also want to like stay off the loud noise stuff. I kind of like how the bike sounds as it is right now normally.
yeah.
But yeah, man, that the FTR definitely gets my blood going for I don't know if you call it a naked bike, a standard. What class is that
It's
really?
a
It's like,
street tracker.
yeah, it's tracker. Okay. It's neat. And so, similar, this kind of related topic on bike builders, but there's a builder on Instagram called Black Giraffe Customs that sent me a message, and I'm going to kind of put this out to the audience because I don't know the answer to this. I'm actually going to call the guy today. But he's building an 82 KZ 1000,
Hmm.
and he's taken the tank off of it and was wondering what other tanks would probably fit on that bike. I have no knowledge in
If
that
you have a
arena.
cutter and the ability to weld anything, I mean,
Yeah, but that's
just
if it
take
depends
the
on the
pan off
frame, right? Because
a
some
little
of
bit.
these tanks don't they have like a channel down the center where it goes on the top?
Yeah, and that's what. So the reason I said that is like basically you cut the tunnel out of the old tank, like
Mhm,
cut the part that wraps around the frame out of the old tank, and
mhm.
weld that onto your new tank. So almost anything you can think of, as long as you can mate those two together.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Um, I mean, as an example, so the Triumph has a similar situation going, and a guy I met at the OG show, Justin, took an Indian Scout tank, cut the channels out of both tanks, and moved a Thruxton tank, inner portion over to an Indian Scout tank, and put an Indian Scout tank on a Triumph Thruxton. It looks amazing, by the way.
I gotta check that out. He sent me some pictures of what he's kind of building right now, and it looks like it's gonna be a cool build. But, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I was thinking when you said cut and weld, I was thinking more about the frame, which is not something I'd wanna do.
No, yeah, just
Mm,
hack up the tank.
right. Well, I'm gonna put it out there if any of the listeners know of something, that's like a direct fit or something that looks cool on a KZ 1000,
Yeah,
send me an email at steve@caferacerpodcast.com, and, I'll get it over to this guy. He's got a pretty cool Instagram page. It's Black Giraffe Customs, all one word, and he's built a bunch of neat stuff, so you can check it out.
cool.
Let me see. There was something else I was going to talk to you about
You say, do
too.
you have any fun events coming up soon?
No, not yet. I mean, there's today they did like a brunch at the place that has all that cafe that's got all the motorcycles in it. I know the Vintage Iron Club's got something coming up at the same place. which looks pretty neat. It's like pinball and I'll tell you
Cool.
what it was. Yeah, I'm gonna probably try to go to that. I actually have a buddy that is on an Alaska trip right now. So this is a place in West Palm Beach that's pretty neat called Old Metal Customs, and
Yep.
it's a cafe that has motorcycles in it
Oh,
that
cool.
are part of this guy's collection that are, pretty some significant old vintage bikes.
Yeah.
But he's got on the 23rd of June, he's got something coming up. Uh that is like a dinner and motorcycle event with uh pinball machines. So I
Oh,
don't know if he's
cool.
bringing in machines or what, but it looks like it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to be going to that.
There's
Then I
a
also have
go ahead.
I got a guy, a friend of mine that I'm going to post like some pictures on Instagram. He's doing an Alaska trip right now. It's his second one. This guy John, who I've known for a long time, and there's a relationship between him and pinball machines. It's funny that I bring this up. Is you this guy was also in the Navy like you, but he did stuff that he worked on was I'm trying to remember the type of equipment, but he's real big into electromechanical pinball machines,
Okay,
which
yeah.
is like the 60s, 70s,
Mhm.
and he had a room in his house where he'd restore them all, and they'd get pretty good money for him. Well, he got the motorcycle bug, like bad,
Yeah.
and sold every one of these things and bought a, a GS, a 1200 Adventure. And he'd ridden in the past, so he was an experienced motorcycle rider back in his Navy days. And he just kind of took a long trip. The first trip he did was an Alaska trip, and now he's on another
Oh,
one right now. And he's got my
nice.
InReach, so he's sending me tracks. So I'm going to post a
Oh,
couple
cool.
pictures. Yeah,
Yeah.
he posts a lot of stuff on ADV Rider, so that'll be kind of fun to follow.
Okay.
Yeah,
The Alaska trip mention actually reminded me. So we talked about the last episode, and I think the episode before we talked about the motorcycle relief project.
right.
Well, I applied, and thankfully, I I had exchanged contact info with one of the guys that's involved in the organization because I applied, and then he sent me like a text a few days later. I was like, "Hey man, did you apply? Like, if you did, I'll check on your application or whatever." And I said, "Yeah, I applied. I got some weird little error at the end of it, and so I ended up filling out the application a couple of times. So I'm sorry if you have like 6 applications from me." Well, it turns out he had 0 applications, which was weird. Somehow the system had like glitched, and I was able to apply yesterday and got like a confirmation that they actually received my application. So hopefully, if that all works out, I'm gonna get to go eventually on one of these moto relief trips and be able to talk about it a little bit on the show and sort of how
So
that
kind of give me a little bit
experience
more
worked.
background on this. Explain it to
Yeah,
me a
so
little better.
it's for veterans and first responders. So
Mhm,
you would apply, like you would be eligible, and it's basically for anybody that's dealt with like depression, anxiety, PTSD, those sort of related mental, health, issues.
mhm,
And so it's a 5-day long motorcycle trip where you're out on, adventure bikes, going around doing some dirt stuff, some street stuff, whatever. And then in the evenings, you come back to sort of your base camp or you're camping wherever you are camping, and um, everybody does maintenance together on the bikes, cooks dinner together, and there's sort of like a group therapy kind of session at the end of every night.
mhm.
Everybody kind of, sharing their stories and sort of like how they handle the issues they're dealing with, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and at the end of the thing, there's like a family's invited, everybody gets together for a barbecue. And um, they were telling me that some of the guys, like some of the families of the guys that come on these trips, are like, I don't know. This is not even the same person that left on the trip. Like they seem to have like they're so much happier. They have so much a better outlook, and they seem to be like so much more positive about the future than 5 days ago even.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I was talking to them. I did an interview at Overland Expo, and at the end afterwards, they were like, "Dude, you should come on a trip." And I was like, "I don't, dude, I don't know that." Like, I mean, they're like, I was like, "I don't know that I really." Have a strong enough need. Like I'm not sort of like in a place where I really have a huge issue with like depression or anything right now. And they're like, well, They're like, "Have you ever needed mental health counseling?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Then then you meet the criteria." Like, it's not it's not for people that are, in a crisis about to kill themselves kind of thing. It's for people that just have sort of like an ongoing, depression or PTSD or anxiety or whatever, which applies to almost everybody.
Well, it's also
Um,
good to have somebody, I think, on the trip that has experienced things that you might have experienced some things that people are having more problems with than you did,
right, and that's sort
you
of
know?
like the give and take of the group therapy idea is that we've all had, we're everybody on the trip has either been in the military or been a first responder, so we all speak a similar language, and we've all experienced varying levels of, traumatic experiences, anxiety, depression, or just even regular everyday bullshit that is kind of unique to the military and first responder community. And so, since everybody is on that same kind of page, you can talk about it in the same ways and, you know, feel like you already have some built up rapport with these people instead of just walking into the basement of a church for a meeting with a bunch of people that are all like, maybe anxious or
Right.
whatever, like a support group thing where you're like, I don't even want to talk to these people. Like, they
No,
don't
and
have
that's
anything in
fine.
common with me.
Yeah, and it's also it's such because it's such a kind of a close-knit, closed-door environment, there's a natural distrust of people that don't do what we do,
Yeah.
and it's not something like you don't trust them because you think they're gonna do something nefarious, it's more about they just don't understand what you've lived, so
Yeah. And sometimes it's even just, like, a lot of times it's just a language thing. Like, you in the first responder community, you have your set of terms and acronyms and way that you talk about things. And in the military, we have, all different branches have their own and different
right.
subsets of those. And there's, acronyms that and stuff that just aren't they're hard sometimes for military people to translate into civilian common English.
No, and there's a lot of crossover between, there's in the law enforcement and fire service, there's tons of guys that are former military, and there's a lot of crossover because they are semi-militaristic organizations. So, the culture, a lot of it's the same, not directly, but close.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
And then I know
I
for a
get
lot
it.
of veterans and first responders, there's like we tend to have more of a gallows humor than maybe your typical office worker. So
Right.
if you go to an anxiety support group and, most of the people there are kind of like your typical 9 to 5 workaday people. And, like I'm probably going to laugh at some things that are going to make some people really sad.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I
and
get that completely.
so,
Our
or
sense
I
of
will
humor
talk.
can be pretty morose sometimes.
Yeah, I will talk in a very glib way about some things that definitely
Right,
make some people very uncomfortable. Just because of the nature that like death is a part of what we do in a
right.
way that's not true of, somebody that works for
Uh,
a regular
it's probably
corporation.
also damaged us severely because
Yeah,
of
I'm not
that,
saying that in a good way. I'm not really
Right,
trying to put any positive or negative um, spin on that. It just it there's even in what I do, where I have never been in a remotely combat situation, but working on helicopters, we have seen people die and have friends die because our
yeah.
job is just inherently dangerous. Whereas, when my job right now is close to a typical 9 to 5. It's actually not. It's 8 to 3. It's better. It's less hours, but um, I sit at a desk, and the most dangerous thing that could happen to me in a day is maybe I get a paper cut, and that's so but that's like sort of the difference, like in like death is no longer a part of what an inherent danger in what I'm doing.
Yeah, but you still gotta deal with the fact that you may have a crew leave and then not come back,
Yes, that
and
does.
these are guys and worked on their bird and everything,
Hmm.
and it's like, it you don't see that typically in most jobs, and, it's the same thing, like, where it's not as bad in the fire service, ours is more of the amount of people that die from cancer and just, the stuff we see because of the kinda calls we run, and I get this. I mean, I'm gonna look into this. Are these only in one state, or they do this all over the country?
So they have two locations. I do them right now in Denver, Colorado, and Tucson, Arizona, depending on the time of year. Um, and there's no charge if you're accepted to go on the ride. There's like an application process. You fill out one application, and then they do like a follow up to like find out more specific information. And then depending on that, they may even do an interview. So there may be like three stages. But to the attendee, there is zero cost except travel, and you don't have to pay to fly anywhere, courtesy of, you know, being
Mhm.
in a relationship with a flight attendant. You lucky bastard. Um, but yeah, so
Very, very easy to fly around the country.
yeah, you can fly around. You can get to Denver, no problem. And so yeah, the only cost is getting there. They provide the bike, they provide the gear if you need it. They, the whole thing, food, transportation, all that stuff. They'll pick you up from the airport, get you where you need to go, and then you're off, on the trip.
No, that sounds like something I'm gonna look into. I mean, it's, I used to be on our CISD peer counseling team years ago, so I kinda understand this, and I remember when I was a company officer on an engine, when we would have something that, you thought would affect the guys, and you kinda asked the guys, "Hey, did anybody want the CISD team to come?" It was usually the guy that, was, like, the most vocal about them not coming that ended up having a problem about it,
Hmm.
and the guy that said, "Well, they can come, but I'm not gonna talk," and that was the guy that usually kinda, like, spilled his guts during the thing, and it was look, I'd be lying if I said I haven't gone to counseling myself just
Yeah.
because of 37 years, it's seeing the crap we see. This sounds like a really valid thing. That Austin, the guy we know that's been doing the motorcycle trip, he's kind of was trying to raise awareness for that same thing, not necessarily
Hmm.
for veterans, but just for depression in general, because he struggled with it for a really long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna look into that. That's cool. You gonna post some links or something for the veterans and public safety people we got listening?
Yeah. So the last few episodes, they've been in the show notes as well.
Do they
And
have
then
do they have a social media presence at all?
yep, Moto. If you just look up Motorcycle Relief Project or Moto Relief, it's sort of like one or the other, depending on what social media platform you're on. They actually just recently had right before Overland Expo, they had an accident involving their trailer, like just wrecking the crap out of some of their
Yeah,
bikes.
yeah, I remember we posted a picture about that, right?
Yeah. Um, so hopefully, I'll get approved or whatever, and I'll get to go on the trip and talk about it. They have basically the full line of BMW GS bikes from the 650 up to the 1200. Um,
How
what
are they
else?
funded?
Um,
Do you know?
they're donations.
Okay.
Yeah, like donations and sponsorships and stuff. Moscow Moto sponsors them. Twisted Throttle sponsors them. Provides some stuff and like gear and equipment. They all the bikes were donated, as far as I know. There's really only one employee of the organization. Everybody else is a volunteer.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look into this. I remember you had mentioned it to me a while ago, and I just got sidetracked, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
I'm gonna
your
take a
life
look.
is busy.
What else we
We'll
got?
we'll probably have another. I hope we have another episode between now and then. But if not, for the 4th of July, I'm going to AMA Vintage Days, so I will be out there with Cleveland Moto and the
Dude,
Misfits and
you're
Motorcycles and
getting to
Misfits
do
guys.
way more than I am. This is BS. Like,
And I
I've
don't know
not
what
been
to
on
tell
a
you.
trip. I'm moving into a new house then, so I'm not. I mean, when is that? The 4th?
4th of
That's
July
like
weekend.
oh, that's the weekend after the 4th. Because 'cause isn't the 4th on a weekday?
The 4th is a Thursday, I think.
Yeah, it is. So when are you going out? Friday?
I'm actually flying out on the 2nd. Um, I'll get there like late, or no, I'm get there like early afternoon on the 2nd, and I'm gonna crash in maybe, well, in or around Cleveland somewhere, um, and then ride up to the event on the 4th with um,
Phil and
the
all those
Cleveland
guys?
Moto guys. Yeah, with
Yeah.
Phil and them, and crash in the RV slash one of the vans that's gonna be there.
Maybe I'll fly in on the 4th or 5th and,
All right.
like, leave on Sunday. When does it end? Sunday, the 7th?
Yeah, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. Alright. That's some
Sunday's like the wrap up day in the like swap meet area. Everybody's kind of packing up already on Sunday.
I'm sure, and it's, Where is it in Ohio? Mid Ohio racetrack,
Mid
right?
Ohio racetrack. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
which I don't know where that is. I'm assuming it's in the middle of Ohio,
I'll
judging by
tell
the
you.
name, but I've never actually looked it up.
It's actually in Kansas. No,
Oh, that's weird.
no, only kidding.
It's in Azerbaijan.
Well, there's a Mid Ohio Valley Regional Airport, but I don't think I'll be flying into there. Mid Ohio Sports Car Course. Let's see where this is. It's near nothing.
It's in the middle of Ohio.
It's
Also
in the
the middle
middle
of
of Ohio,
nowhere.
next to nothing. It's like close. It's between Columbus and Cleveland. Looks like
It's
dead in
not
the
too far
middle.
from Lexington,
Lexington, what? Ohio?
Kentucky.
Yeah, yeah. This is like I'd have to rent a car because
Yeah.
that's not an Uber drive. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
No, I could fly into Columbus and rent a car. Or you guys are leaving from Cleveland, but you're leaving on the 2nd, though, right?
We're leaving on the 4th.
On the 4th.
Yeah.
Let
I'm
me
just
look at the
getting in there
calendar.
a couple days early because of
We're still
prices.
we're still gonna try to do the AIM Expo together, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's in Virginia. And I was gonna try to go to
Wait,
the
the AIM is in
no, I'm sorry. Virginia, they moved it.
no, it's in Columbus.
N-
Overland Expo is in Virginia.
Overland. AIM's in Columbus this year?
Yeah.
Was it in Columbus before?
Yeah, it was in Columbus the year
2
before it
years
was
ago.
in Vegas.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's not near Lexington, Kentucky. It's near Lexington, Ohio.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out. I'd like to be able to go on something, but I'm moving that Monday on the 1st into the new place.
All right.
Maybe I can work it out. But yeah, I was going to try to do the BMW owners rally with some of the guys from Slack, but there's just no way I can get it done between now and then. I'm
Yeah.
actually seeing if I can get into the house a week early, and that'll maybe free up time for Mid Ohio.
That'd be
Did
cool.
you apply for press credentials for that?
I emailed them. I didn't get anything back, but Phil has
Extra.
contact. Phil has contact with him. He's doing a presentation there.
Mhm.
And so I'm either going I may buy a ticket. The tickets aren't super expensive. I may buy a ticket or just hide in the back of the RV as we pull in.
And just say you're gonna hide in the truck, right?
Yeah, I might just hide.
What a
Phil said
loser.
he's going to try to get me added onto his press passes. But if not, I'm just going to sneak in
We've gotten
probably.
passes from the AMA before. This shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I just never got anything back from them. It might have ended up in my junk folder. I need to look.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for you. I mean, I'd like to come out, but again, it's all about timing for me. So
Yeah, I've been
anyway,
just super cramming it in. Like every time something pops up on Facebook that's like, "Hey, there's this motorcycle event." Like, yeah, screw it, I'll go to that.
well, it'll be a lot easier for me once I'm settled in. So
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I have anything else.
No.
So I'd like to remind everybody about the Tell Us What to Do with This Pelican Case contest.
Where do you want them to send that to?
We're going to put there's a contest link on the website, caferacerpodcast.com/contests. I will make sure it's up by the time this show gets posted. So for those of you, if you catch it on YouTube before I post it on, the iTunes and stuff, you may not find the page up yet, but I should be able to post it this afternoon, and then we'll have it all up, and you can tell us either the reasonable or ridiculous thing you would like to store in a Pelican R40 case, and maybe you can win one with a fancy vacuum bottle mug as well. Holds 18 ounces of liquid, 24 hours cold, 12 hours hot.
That is so cool. I wish I could participate, but I'm not going to. They've got a bunch of different sizes. So check out pelican.com if you want to see what we're talking about. And like Crash said, it's the R40 personal utility ruck case.
Yeah, the only reason I want to know what you would want to what we should do with one of the ruck cases.
And don't go on the website and look at what they have in there and then give that as an answer because you're not going to win.
I mean, you could, but I don't. Yeah,
no, we already know.
I mean, I would, because like there's a size of Pelican case that I have been affectionately calling the dead hooker box for my entire naval career, and this is much smaller than that. You cannot fit a body in a ruck
Uh,
case. You can fit probably several bodies in the dead hooker box, though.
I know exactly the one you're talking about too, because I think
Yeah,
we've
it's
actually put
like a
somebody inside
5 foot
one.
long, like
Yeah,
rolling case, and you could easily fit a live human in it. They just wouldn't be alive for very long afterwards.
right. And of course, we locked them in and didn't let them out for a while until they
Right,
started to panic.
which is why it
Right.
becomes a dead hooker box, because then you get them there and you're like, "Wait, who brought this box of dead hookers?" Like, "Well, they were
Right.
alive when we put them in there."
I actually I've had a Pelican case that it's like they're really one of their standard sizes, the 1500 or 1440, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And man, I have used that for so many different things because I just like pulled the foam out. For a while, it was a camera case for one type of camera, and then a different type of
Mhm.
camera. For a while, I had like my range case where I kept a bunch of guns in it. So these things are, I mean, they've been around a long time. It's hard to say that if you didn't ever use one or see one, but Pelican makes a great product.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So check them out. We'll post a link up to all that stuff: Moto Relief Project, AMA Vintage Days,
Go
Scotch
and
and Iron,
go Google MV Agusta ad.
MV
Believe me,
Augusta ad. I'll
it'll
probably
pop
post that
right
up
up.
just so you
Yeah.
guys can be offended or not offended, titillated or not titillated.
Cy
Whatever.
Cycle World's got a story about it they're running right now, so
Yeah,
go check it out on Cycle World.
cool.
Alright.
With
Uh,
thanks for supporting us on Patreon. You can find us at feedback@caferacerpodcast.com. To reach us on email, caferacerpodcast.com is the website. All the social medias, just look for Cafe Racer Podcast. And that's all I got.
I got nothing else, brother.
Get out and ride.
See ya.